What's going on, YouTube, and welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are taking a look at our first playoff series preview. And tonight we're starting in the Metropolitan Division as the number 2 and 3 seeds in the Metro are matching up, and they're literally just across the river from each other. It's the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers. This is going to be a really exciting series. I'm really excited for this one because how I look at this is if I'm a Rangers fan, I'm actually okay with the matchup, and if I'm a Devils fan, I'm also okay with the matchup. I think both fan bases are very optimistic about their team going into this postseason, and I think this is the first time in a long time. I think it was, what was it, 2013, 2012, when they both played each other in the Eastern Conference Final. Shout out to Adam Henrique, who got the overtime winner to finish that series. It was a great series. I expect nothing less this year in the playoffs. Now, if I'm looking today, right now, the Devils are currently holding that spot. And I think right now, the Rangers, this is their 3-point, so the gap is too wide. So the Devils have home ice advantage, and that is going to help them in this scenario, but it also doesn't really help them all that much either because Ranger fans travel. And the last time I went to the last game at the Rock at the Prudential Center, it was about 48-52. 52% Devil fans, 48% Ranger fans. It was that close. So home ice advantage really isn't that much of an advantage in this series. So that's the first point. The second point is, how do they do during the regular season? The Devils definitely were the more favored team during the regular season, going 3-0-1. So they picked up a point in all 4 of their games against the Rangers. The only game that they lost was an overtime loss. So despite the one loss, they also picked up a point. So they have been very close this season in their matchups with the New York Rangers throughout this season, and it's been pretty favorable to them. It was a 4-3 loss in overtime. Now, if you guys don't remember, back in November, I believe it was the week of Thanksgiving, or the week after Thanksgiving, the Rangers and Devils were playing. Incredible game. I think the Rangers jumped out to like a 2 or 3-0 lead, and then the Devils came all the way back and won the game 5-3. And then we had a couple of other good games, like I said, that overtime game, 4-3 win for the Rangers. And then the Devils kind of took over from there. They had a 4-3 win at the Rock back in January, the first week of January. And like I said, they met 2 weeks ago in that game against the Rangers at the Rock, a 2-1 final, which was much more of a playoff type game between these two teams. And at that point, that kind of clinched home ice for the Devils. I mean, it obviously, there's been a lot of games, since then, but I think that really was what cemented the Devils kind of holding down the second spot in the Metro. So now comes, comparing the teams one for one. So forwards, got to give it to the Rangers. I mean, Patrick Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko were their big additions at the deadline. They also brought back Tyler Mott, who was kind of the equivalent to Curtis Lazar. So those two kind of offset. Timo Meier for Patrick Kane. At this point, I might actually take Timo Meier, but they also have Tarasenko, which the Devils didn't even get anywhere close to that type of player in another trade. So definitely the Rangers' offense. I think this is still kind of a weird time for the Rangers, though, because a lot of those guys are just starting to mesh together and kind of find their rhythm together, and specifically Patrick Kane. And I think we're starting to see that team start to come together, but it's still taking a while. We're about to hit the playoffs, and even in that Devils game, the Rangers' offense was a little bit of a you-know-what. It really wasn't great. Defense. This one's a little bit more debatable, but I still think I have to give it to the Rangers. I think Adam Fox, Jacob Trouba, Keandre Miller's emergence this season, Braden Schneider, you go down the list, right? And a healthy Ryan Lindgren. I think a healthy Ryan Lindgren is the X factor in this series. The Devils don't really have that. They have some very good defensemen in Jersey. Severson, Moreno, Maybe if Hughes can crack the lineup, I don't know if he really will play that much in the playoffs, but Luke Hughes, some of the other guys like a Jonas Siegenthaler, shout out to my Hershey Bears alum there. The Devils are still in that state of transition, especially on the blue line, right? Because Luke Hughes, Simon Nemec, they aren't even in the lineup yet. Those are core pieces to this blue line in the future, and they're not really here yet. So that's kind of it kind of favors the Rangers. And then that gets to goaltending. And shout out to Vitek Vanacek. Very good season for him and the Devils. But I got to be honest, 1-for-1. Igor Shesterkin versus Vitek Vanacek, it is not even close. Igor Shesterkin is the better goaltender here. And ultimately, I think the other two are fair. The other categories are extremely close. Defense, forward group. The Rangers just have more depth, and they have the better goaltender. I think this is going to be a really good series. I think it's going to go at the very least 6, more likely 7 games. I think the Devils fans are really excited about this season. They did really well against the Rangers during the regular season. That doesn't transfer over to the playoffs, though. It's a totally different story. The Rangers will be ready for the playoffs. Not going to say that they're going to smoke the Devils. A lot of Devils fans are very, very optimistic out there, as they should be, as they've had an incredible year. But since those first 2 or 3 months, they've kind of plateaued and really haven't gotten better or worse since then. So as I sit here today going into the playoffs, I'm going to give it to the Rangers here. I think the Rangers win this series in 6 games at Madison Square Garden. I think they find a way to get it done. They don't have home ice advantage, but that might actually help them in this series. I think they're going to win this series in 6 games. Igor Shesterkin can steal them at the very least a game or 2, and I think the Rangers offense will get going, will be ready to go. But that is my one concern for the Rangers, is that offense. It really hasn't gelled here over the last couple of weeks. They really need to put that together in the postseason because the Devils are fast. They have guys. The speed of the Devils is their biggest threat. A ton of speed on this team. They're able to lock down games. We've seen the Devils here over the last couple of weeks, kind of blowing out a couple of teams. They played a close one against Boston, but at the end of the season, they beat Buffalo 6-2, Pittsburgh 5-1, Columbus 8-1, Chicago 6-3. They're taking care of business for the most part in the last 2 weeks of the regular season. They have a couple losses here and there, but other than that, it's been a really good season for the Devils. I'm really excited to see what they do. I'm definitely respecting the Devils and giving them, at the very least, 6 games. Like I said, I have the Rangers winning this series in 6 games. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Who do you guys think is going to win this series? Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, stay tuned for the rest of our content as we are getting ready for our playoff series previews. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again next time. Peace.